Hi folks, Wooden Boat Dan here. Today we're going to talk about how to do fillets on your boat. These are not the same as a filet mignon steak. Trust me, you don't want to eat them. What I've found though is the key to doing a good fillet is proper preparation before you mix your epoxy. You want to get all your ducks in a row before you start the game, because once you start mixing that epoxy, it's going to start heating up. You're going to need to get it on the boat and get it smoothed out, and you've only got so much time to do that. So first of all, let's take a look at how I prepare and some of the tools I use. First thing I recommend doing is having all your supplies laid out. Here you can see I've got my various fillet tools all cleaned up, laid out, marked, ready to go. The wooden ones obviously I've made myself, and the plastic one I shaped, and a couple putty knives. I've got my mask ready to when I add the filler to my epoxy. I've got my gloves out, and I've got my stir stick and stir cup ready. And over here I have my epoxy bag with a pastry tip ready to go. Here is what the tip of the bag looks like. I cut a little corner off the Ziploc bag, and I put this little pastry icing thing on there. It's got an opening that's about 5/16 of an inch, and I can squeeze my epoxy through that opening, and that works really well. Then here I've got the pastry bag back in a cup so that when I mix my epoxy and thicken it, I can put it in this cup in the bag real easily without having a big mess all over the place. The key is to do everything very quickly so that the epoxy doesn't get too hot and blow off on you. And I've got my denatured alcohol out here, and here's a little bit of denatured alcohol in a brush and a can for cleaning up afterwards. And I think that's all my supplies are ready to go. Next thing I'm going to do is go vacuum the boat, and actually I've already done that. I've just got a couple small sections to fillet. Here I've got this to fillet, and here, and then a couple sections on the inside of the boat. Next I'm going to go to my epoxy station where I've got my hardener and my resin. I've got a timer that I'll set for 2 minutes. Actually I'll do that right now. I always mix my epoxy, stir it for 2 minutes to make sure it's thorough. Got my mixing cup ready, my gloves and my mask, and here is my mixture of filler that I'm going to use. I don't recommend that you mix more than 8 ounces of epoxy at a time. If you do, it's going to get real hot on you and it may get ruined and you've got a problem. So I would start with 4 to 8 ounces. This batch I'm going to do about 4 ounces. Okay, I'm done mixing my epoxy. Now I'm going to add the filler to the epoxy, and I'm going to mix that up. Okay, now you can see I've got my epoxy thickened with my fillers from West System, and it's about the consistency of peanut butter, so it's not going to drip. So next thing I'm going to do is put it in the pastry bag, get it ready to go. Okay, so here we go, scooping her into the pastry bag, and I'm using the edges of the cup here to wipe it off of my stick. So I'm going to carefully load this in here. I'm taking this movie with an iPhone strapped around my neck, so it's pretty fun. And then I like to leave a little bit extra in the cup because I may need to do some repair to my fillets along the way. So I'm going to leave about that much in the cup. Put the rest in the pastry bag here and set that aside. I'm going to take my pastry bag off of this cup here, and I'm going to work the epoxy down into the corner of the bag. It'll take me just a minute. And I'm going to work it down with a little round tube here. I'm just going to roll it till it gets down by the tip in the pastry bag here. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Now when I go to squeeze this bag, it's going to come out. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky to fillet and hold my camera.
But okay, so I'm going to start there, and I'm just going to, whoop, didn't get quite enough there. I'm just going to squeeze this stuff out like it's icing. And I can already feel it heating up in my hand a little bit. I got to get it down farther into the cup, into the nozzle area. And I'm going to keep squeezing, get all this out as evenly as possible, which that's not very even, but I'm trying to do 6 things at once here. Okay, so there the fillet is in place. I'm going to get the rest of the material in place in the boat. Next I'm going to go in this corner and, sorry about that, try to get a smooth bead going here. It's like putting caulking in a bathtub. And then I'm going to come up on it. I'm going to keep working it here for a minute. They don't have to be perfect, they just have to be structurally sound, but I like stuff to look good. Okay, so there you go. So next what I'll do is I'll take a putty knife and I'll clean up along the edge here, and I'll make the top and the bottom look pretty, and that's it. That's how you do a fillet.